Welcome to Not Yet Christian. This is Walt. Hi, Walty boy. Walty boy. This is my doodle. The excuse Walt wants to cover today, the excuse that Walt uses for not going to church, it's full of hypocrites. Good job, buddy. Welcome to Not Yet Christian. I'm your host, Jenny D. Whether you're curious about Jesus, new to faith, a cautious Christian, or questioning religion altogether, come on in and let's shift your baggage to a backstory with purpose. I did not go to church for a very long time because there were a bunch of jerks in church. And I let that be my reason to not fellowship with other people. And I can't go back in time and undo that, but I wish I wouldn't have. There were many years that the people in the building kept me out of the building, and that's on me. So we're going to eliminate that excuse of a couple rotten eggs in a building with the Bible verse, Matthew 9:12. So Matthew 9:12, on hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick." Jesus hung out with tax collectors and prostitutes and really bad people, and he often got criticized for it. But Jesus was all about, I'm going to hang out with the people who need me. It's true. Church has hypocrites. But that's the whole point. Jesus did not come for the perfect. He came for the broken. If you think about evaluating your life and looking in the mirror, you're probably not perfect. And so why should we expect to walk in a church with a bunch of perfect Christians? It's going to be full of people that are just loving up on you and welcome you and want to spend time with you, and it's full of people that are judging you. You're going to find that in every church. Don't let that be an excuse.
I don't go to church because of hypocrites. I think that this is the number one reason people give for not wanting to go to church. Well, here are a couple of my thoughts. First of all, you don't stop going to the gym, do you, because of all the overweight people there? And you don't stop going to the hospital because of ill people. In every area and sector of life, there are hypocrites. Yeah, somehow it's only ever serious when it comes to the church.
The church isn't meant to be a showcase of flawless people. Thank goodness, because I'm a hot mess and I go to church. It's meant to be a place where imperfect people meet a perfect Savior. Let's roll in to learn more. So the context behind this verse is the Pharisees criticized Jesus for eating with tax collectors and sinners. And he pointed out he came for those he knows needs help. Matthew's the author, former tax collector himself. And remember, tax collectors used to collect too much of the tax and put some in their pocket. So they also needed a doctor. And guess who Jesus picked? Matthew, the former tax collector. The audience were his fellow Jews. And what Matthew was writing throughout the book of Matthew was to prove that Jesus was the Son of God. He is the Messiah. And he wrote this Bible verse to highlight, the mission that Jesus had was to rescue the lost. And his willingness to be with the broken people and not seek out a bunch of perfect people and hang out with them. So let's look into steps how we can apply this verse. Change your perspective. Instead of allowing a couple people in a building be your excuse to not go there anymore, go there to maybe make a difference in their lives. Instead of expecting perfection, recognize church is full of sinners. That's why we go to church. So don't look for this church with perfect people in it. It doesn't exist. And maybe, just maybe, if you rub elbows with those imperfect people, you can influence and help change their life versus judging them right back, which I did. It took me 5 minutes to find someone I didn't like and then not go to that church again because I had to fulfill all my little check boxes about going to church. Another step we can take is focus on Jesus. People will fail you. That's kind of a guarantee. The one person that won't fail you is Jesus. So go to church to be with Jesus where two or more gather. He's in the room with you. Don't go to church looking for perfection in people that actually aren't capable of perfection. One guy was perfect and his name is Jesus. One guy on earth was perfect. His name was Jesus. So don't let those imperfect people be the reason you don't go to church. And lastly, just you be the change. You might make a difference in their life. Live authentically. Let your integrity and humility shine in your church community. So if there are people there you don't like, go anyway. They're going to watch you and scratch their head and say, what's up with them? And the answer is, you're walking like Jesus. All right, in conclusion, the presence of hypocrites doesn't disqualify the church. It proves it's it proves it's necessary. Just ask any pastor. I'm pretty sure they will tell you his church congregation is not perfect. Just like a hospital, it's full of the sick. The church will always be full of the broken who need grace. 3 takeaways. Hypocrites in church don't cancel the truth of Jesus. Let's just throw away this excuse because we're not going to find a perfect church. Church is a hospital for sinners, not a museum of saints. Instead of walking away, choose to live authentically and point others to Christ. Again, I use this excuse all of the time. And ironically, I was actually the jerk in church. So I'm judging people being in church saying, I'm not going because that lady hurt my feelings. And at the same time, I'm kind of being a jerk myself. So I understand that that church was kind of crappy, but you're never going to find a perfect place. You'll never find a perfect leader of a church. They're human. They make mistakes too. You're not going to find the perfect leadership team. You're not going to find the perfect youth pastor. You're not going to find the perfect worship service. Don't look for perfection. Walk in a building and just wait for Jesus to show up. Do not let a couple people just ruin your experience of being in the building. You're going to the building to be with Jesus. So what if there's a couple people there that need healing? Maybe the couple people that you're using as an excuse to not go back to the church are just hurt. As Pastor John Craner says, hurt people hurt people. So go back to that church. If you love being in that church, don't let a couple people be the reason you don't go back. Let me get real here and share with you my hypocrite story. So I'd gone to church. I took a bunch of teenage kids, took my boys and their friends, and we took up a whole row. The next week, I went to church by myself. After church, this woman comes up to me and asks me where all those kids are. I'm like, oh, they couldn't come this week. She proceeded to lecture me about I have to bring my kids to church every Sunday. And in the meantime, she's telling me that she has kids the same age. Guess who wasn't in church with her that week? Her kids. So not only was she a hypocrite, but she was mean. I let one person be a reason that I did not go back in that building. And it was a great church. The worship music was great. The pastor was awesome. The fellowship was great. They had wonderful small groups. This church had so much to offer. And I let one sick person, one person that needed a doctor, one person that needed Jesus, be the reason that I didn't walk back in that building, and I didn't go to church for several months after. Yeah, I did that too. So I'm asking you, don't let hypocrites be the reason that you don't go to church. All right, so we covered 2 things. I don't need church to have a relationship with Jesus, and a church is full of hypocrites. I really hope that this series helps you put down those excuses of why you're not getting back into church or why you're not trying church for the first time, and that you make it a priority to get your butt in the building. I really don't care if there's jerks in that church. Get your butt back in the building. Get your butt in the building. I am so glad you stopped by. If you felt encouraged today, we have more to offer. Not Yet Christian is just one of the resources provided by Immeasurably More 320, a nonprofit ministry. For additional resources, please visit immeasurablymore320.com and swing by our store at whereyourjesus.com. Join us again next week for another episode of Not Yet Christian. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.